This is Cricbuzz Chatter into day 2 of this test match at the Oval, and a proper test match day it was too. 13 wickets fell on day 1. The balance was restored a little bit. Only 7 wickets, 280 runs were scored. We saw really classy innings. We saw the bowlers making some inroads. And well, England might still be ahead in this game. I mean, when you have a lead of 56, you're still ahead. But it's a lot more open than it seemed it would be at one point from India's point of view. Michael Vaughan is with us. It was a bit of a seesaw day, isn't it? 62 for 5. You're thinking, oh, 190 is 500. And then suddenly Bairstow and Vokes score runs, and you think, oh, you only made 290 in the end. So it was that seesaw kind of day. But who's ahead for you?
England just, but it's only just because of the way that opening partnership started for India tonight. You look at 280 runs. I think there'll be another 270 runs scored tomorrow. If India can bat out the day, then we start getting to the stage where India become favourites to win the Test match, and that's the big if. Can they bat out the day? I mean, if you actually look at the 2 days of Test match cricket, I think the 191 that in the conditions that they batted, I think the 290 that England have got, I think is about 80 below par. I think the ball today didn't do a great deal. I thought it was a nice day to bat. The sun was shining. The first hour is always the key. The ball will do a little bit more tomorrow morning. We saw that this morning. We saw that in the first morning. So if India can kind of nullify that first hour where there will be a little bit more grabbing the surface, I think they'll team. They're trying to become a side that potentially could challenge. It has been dramatic. There's been that ebb and flow that you've mentioned, Harsha. But I look at it from an England perspective, and I would be disappointed in that dressing room. It was a day where someone should have got 100. I thought it was a day where England could have batted the day out. Yes, it's flamboyant, and you're seeing lots of shots, and you're seeing great strikes to the boundary. But that was a day where someone should have gone, you know what? It's a beautiful day for batting. Bat all day and going to day 3, still batting. And you're saying to India, we've got a lead of 160, 170. Very, very hard to win from that position. By only getting a 99-run lead, and with India starting well in the second innings, I really think it's like that. It really is that first hour tomorrow. If England can crack out, they're well on top. But if this partnership carries on for an hour and they nullify that initial hour tomorrow where there'll be more movement, I think India start to become favourites to win the match.
And it's interesting that you say India were a little short and that England were a little short given the conditions, because that's been the story of this series. The story of this series from a batting perspective is one man. And I think the pluses for England were that Root made 21 and England made 290. I mean, you could say England should have made 360, but the fact that Root made 21 and England made 290 is a plus for England. I liked Ollie Pope, I must admit. There's a feeling that he jabs a little bit, that he does that, but I didn't see an obvious weakness. You look at it from a cricket captain's point of view, so you're searching for it. But I saw that he had runs front foot, back foot. I saw he had runs offside, leg side, and he finally looked like the player he was built up to be. But yeah, Pope played well. But if there was a trading window in international cricket, like there is in franchise cricket, and much like your teams have been pulling in Portuguese players from Italy, if there was a transfer window, I would be putting in a bid for Chris Vokes. Chris Vokes in India colours is a superstar. He's just the player that India want. We were searching for in Hardik. We're trying to make good with Shardul. But yeah, I'd be putting in a bid for Chris Vokes.
Yeah, I mean, Harsha, I tweeted the 4 all-rounders that we've had in English cricket in history, if you like. In my time, Ian Botham, Freddie Flintoff, Ben Stokes and Chris Vokes. And in English conditions, Chris Vokes got a better record. He's only played 25 test matches, but he averages 22 with the ball and 36 with the bat. That's incredible for an all-rounder. And if you walk down the streets in England and said, come on, name us the best all-rounders that we've had in English conditions, I reckon he'd be 4th in terms of roll off the tongue. I'm sure Ian Botham, Ben Stokes, Freddie Flintoff, and then, that Chris Vokes is pretty good. Well, actually, his record is right up there with what they've delivered. He's a wonderful cricketer. He's a great team guy. I think he's one of the most popular English cricketers that has probably played in my time. very likable, gets on with his business, gets on with his job. I think in terms of what he delivers, you're right. I would say he'd be an absolute superstar on about $10 million
Yeah.
a year if he was an Indian cricketer. He's doing all right for himself over here, but I think he is exactly what you want in your team. You need that kind of substance and that consistency of character and personality that arrives in the dressing room. His record speaks for itself in English conditions. I'm also glad you mentioned Ollie Pope, because I was going to get to Ollie Pope. Ollie Pope has been this I can say that superstar in the making in English cricket. There's been so much talk about Ollie Pope. His first class record is incredible. He averages over 100 at the Oval in first class cricket. He's got 700s on that venue. He's a player that I've heard so much about. I've heard so many of the coaches say, look, this is the one. He's the one that could be the next Joe Root. And I'd not seen it in Test cricket. I'd seen glimpses of his 100 in South Africa. I thought, yep, he can play. But I've seen so many kind of ebbs and flows and, that flamboyancy and that kind of aggressive nature he likes to play. I thought today was the first time I've watched him in Test cricket and go, yeah, I see that. I can see he's got class. I see someone that's going to play for a long period of time. Where he finds himself in the order, I think he'd probably get higher up in the order. But I thought that's the way that he has to play.
I'm looking at the game now from an Indian bowling perspective. 62 for 5. As I said, they made 190 look like 500, even though one of those was the night watchman. But make no mistake, a night watchman who can handle himself, but he sort of, when flirting around. Once again, the first hour, it was that first hour, first session before lunch was already a story in two parts. I mean, 20 odd for 2 in the first hour, and then almost run a minute in the second hour. I got the feeling, and I don't know if you'd agree with me, that while India played 5 bowlers, Kohli was thinking, I think I've got 3, or I think I've got 3 and a bit to play with. Jadeja gave him a little bit more, and I think those 2 Jadeja wickets were a bit of a bonus. But Siraj bowled only 12 overs? And I don't know, I'm not seeing the Siraj of Australia. I'm not seeing the Siraj of Lords. Since he left Lords and has come back to the Oval, there's some difference in Siraj. Shardul, it's not swinging at his pace. He's probably the 5th bowler.
On the pitches here, Harsha, this Javo 69, that I think you tweeted about it today. It's a disgrace really that he keeps getting on the pitch, but his actually run up today when he ran on the pitch was very similar to Shardul Thakur. He had kind of a similar rhythm. So that's a concern for India. Siraj looks, look, he's a young, played 4 Test matches. The gallop, he just looks like he maybe needs a little bit of a breather, but he's a high. He got the key wicket. He got the key wicket of Ollie Pope. And he's just got something. We saw that with his innings yesterday. He's just got something. At Trent Bridge, he got the key wicket of Joe Root. So I think Virat maybe has to use him in the second innings quite sparingly, but cleverly. I think the big bonus was Jadeja. That was a big, big play in the game because Moeen and Ollie Pope were controlling the game. Which is on the ground. And then all of a sudden in Moeen's mind, he went, I want to hit a 6. I think I can hit a 6. And you think Test cricket, you don't always have to hit a 6. Just play on the floor. Just keep playing and play to that second new ball, get 60 in front. And by the time that they take that second new ball, you've still got 4 wickets in the tank, get that 150 lead and win the game. That was a key moment, I believe, in the Test match where Moeen had that rush of blood to his head that he thought, I'm going to hit a 6. It's in my DNA that I hit left arm spinners all day long in T20 cricket in the 100. I can just swing it over in the Test match. And Jadeja did a job, but you're right. Those 2 at the top, I have to say, Umesh Yadav has been magnificent. He bowls that inviting length, but with great pace and skill. And Bumrah's Bumrah. Bumrah's just is a joy to watch. You watch Bumrah in Test match cricket, you just study the way that he just delivers his action, delivers his skill. He's always probing away at techniques. He's a wonderful bowler to watch.
He's stuck on 99 wickets, though he'll probably get his 100th as he goes along. Remember, he's only played 2 test matches at home. But I think I can understand Moeen Ali. We all look to the future. We all look ahead. Suddenly, Moeen Ali looked 2 weeks ahead and thought he was wearing yellow. And he said, right, I'm wearing yellow. I'm batting 3 for Dhoni, CSK. Let me go over the top. But you're absolutely right. Those lower order dismissals. I mean, you look at Johnny Bairstow, 37. There was a partnership of 89 that could have gone on another 30, 40 runs. Moeen Ali, 35. Even Chris Vokes, when he came along, that 50 came pretty quickly. I mean, you could say the 35 with Anderson was a bonus, but I think there were a few more to be had there. Number 11 was told run. Number 11 ran, and as happens so often, you got a run out. In India's batting, I'm going to put you a little bit in the hot spot now, Michael, because I'm going to talk about India's batting and the role of the captain in there. So into the hot spot. First of all, India had a very tricky 70 minutes to negotiate. Initially, I thought, oh, hang on, Rohit's looking a little iffy here because you're starting to play away from his body. Luckily, he came good. Luckily, Rory Burns just went to sleep for a while at second slip. I don't know what happened, if that ball came out of somewhere, but it's a long time since I've seen someone at second slip not see a ball. I don't know how expensive that's going to prove to be, but they just seem to settle in well. So now, Michael, you're captain. You're in that Indian change room and you're saying, right, gentlemen, we are minus 56. What are you telling your batsman?
Bat all day. It's a dead simple procedure that India now find themselves in, that they've nullified the real pressure zone of that initial start. The first hour will be key. Don't go chasing the wide ones. Don't go chasing the big drives in that first hour. Play for your off stump and then make hay. You know, the sun will shine eventually tomorrow. It might start at the day, but as we saw today, the pitch is nice. It's good. You know, it's a good pitch for batting. And I really do believe with the way that India fought, and from 120 for 7 now to be in this position where they're only 56 runs, it's not a lot. It isn't a lot on a ground that you can score quite quickly. You kind of forget about that 56 and you break down the game and say, because you don't bowl 90 overs anymore, because we just kind of expect that you'll be 85, 81. It's not a problem. We don't do that anymore. But 85 overs, India bat the day out. And I've said from yesterday that the team that gets the individual score to an individual 100, so whichever team can get that one individual to 100, I think will win the game. I thought Ollie Pope was going to be that individual, and if he had got 100, England would probably have had a 140, 150 lead. If India can get an individual to 100 tomorrow, I think it will go a long way to winning the game. I've had my say. I think that's quite simple from an Indian perspective. You bat the day out. From an England perspective, to be patient and keep probing around fourth, fifth stump, full of length. Which Indian player, Harsha, will be the key? You always ask me to kind of probe away and make the comment. I'm asking you, which of the Indian batters is going to be the key?
I'd love to have scored as many international runs as you and captained in as many matches as you to be able to make that comment. But I just think that Rohit Sharma has played so many balls. Maybe there's a little omen there. I don't know if you believe in it. I don't, but maybe there is one there, that he's given that catch early up front and it's a bizarre miss. So maybe it's just meant to be. But I think he's just played so many balls that at some point, those are going to get translated into runs. If he can get his first international 100, then great. But I'm still thinking there. I looked at what happened at Lords. I know India won that game, but then they went forward. India tend to lose wickets in bunches, and the collapses, they come about a little more frequently than you'd have liked. So I'm just a little wary, and that's why I go along with you that 1 hour. If India can go into lunch 1 down, then I think the mood has shifted. I was always told there's fear in your camp, but there's fear in the enemy camp. You snorted at me.
The 1 down, the winning. The 1 down at lunch. They only lose 1 wicket in that opening session. Because the afternoon's pure. It's the best time to bat. Day 3 at the Oval, I would say possibly late in day 2, going into day 3 is the best time to bat. It doesn't get any better at the Oval. It'll get a little bit worse on day 4, but it won't be. It won't be horrific. It'll just be okay. But it's the best time to bat tomorrow. If they can see off that first session and only be 1 wicket down, that means KL or Rohit is still out there, and one of those two then surely gets the 100. England, I think, need 3 or 4 wickets in the opening session. I really believe that. I think they need that ball to swing. They need a few mistakes, and they need to hold on to the catches. That's again a little bit of a negative with England this week, is that the catches haven't quite stuck, and that Rory Burns, all right, if you can't see it, you can't catch it. It's impossible. But little moments like that which become big. The kind of non-seeing of the Rory Burns catch of Rohit Sharma further down the line. It's that kind of game where those moments are so big because it's in the balance.
Okay, we'll wait and see. I loved Michael's reaction to me saying 1 wicket down at lunch. Look, 1 wicket down at lunch. India probably 40, well, not even 40 ahead. India 30 ahead. Because if they made 80, 85 by lunch, India 30 ahead, 30 for 1. There's one thing, though, that England have over India with the ball, and that is that the ball comes from a big height. We've been looking at some numbers. When the ball goes over 2 meters high, 210 high, then India have tended to lose a few more wickets, so they'll have to adjust to that height, which they've got the skill to do. But I'll tell you one thing: if India are 220 ahead at the end of day 3, wow, we've got a great test match with the ebb and flow. We'll wait and see. We will, of course, be with you at the end of day 3 of Cricbuzz Chatter, and I'll still have my bid lying on Michael's table for Chris Wokes to come over to India and play not just franchise cricket, but what fun it would be for India to have a player like him. We'll see you tomorrow.